Yo, can't you wait any longer? I want to experience Mad Max, Goddess of Fury on the big screen. This is the first time this series has been introduced to domestic cinemas. You can personally immerse yourself in the sand and dust of that wasteland world, to feel the roar of the engine and the life and death struggle under the cruel laws of survival. On through the plots of the first 4 movies, but it's not enough, because I haven't watched the series in one breath. Written by Mad Max, Goddess of Fury. Now I watched this movie, so I specially grabbed the details of this movie and compiled them for you. Without spoiling anything, I'll condense the essence to give you a preview of the movie. Let everyone be in the most comfortable position. Then go to the cinema to watch Mad Max, Goddess of Fury, without getting lost. Then let's sit tight and hold on tight. Let's start the war truck. Let's go. Mad Max, Goddess of Fury is prequel to Mad Max, Fury Road. So what story does the 4th part tell? And what important settings there will continue to be related to Mad Max, Goddess of Fury? How many big friends have you forgotten about? Please raise your hands. Put down your good hands, there are still many. Mad Max 4 Inches tells. Max accidentally breaks into Immortal Joe's territory. He was captured and became the bloodbag of the Immortal Joe disciple Warboy. At this time, Immortal Joe's most trusted commander, Furiosa, turned against him. Take Immortal Joe and a group of wives to escape from Immortal Joe's clutches. Immortal Joe went out with all his strength to capture Furiosa and the others. Max was also forced to get involved. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Max and Furiosa both try to break free from Immortal Joe's control. From never knowing each other to working together. Embark on an adventure in the wasteland world. In this movie, Furiosa shows fearlessness and bravery. The powerful, witty and decisive image of the female war goddess. How did such a heroic woman become a hero? The latest film, Mad Max, Goddess of Fury. It starts with Furiosa being abducted from her homeland, the Land of Plenty, when she was a child. It was then sent to the hands of the film's villain, Dementos. Dementos is played by Chris Hemsworth, also known as Hammer. The film tells the story of Furiosa's many twists and turns and adventures. After many hardships in the wasteland world, he became a child who had no interest in the world. To transform into the female war goddess we know, since the film will span 15 years. So Aaliyah Brown will play Furiosa as a child. The Gambit star Anya Taylor-Joy plays Furiosa when she grows up. After watching the trailer, do you think the little girl looks similar to Anya Taylor-Joy? That's because the film uses some AI technology. Make little girls look more like Anya Taylor-Joy. This time the film once again outlines and expands the broader frontier of this wasteland world. Wasteland world, also known as wasteland punk. It's the signature of the Mad Max universe. Imaginations about the future world. We all know the high technology, low life cyberpunk. But in fact, the punk art setting is much more than that. In the early days of the Industrial Revolution, steam represented power, giving birth to steampunk. Romance under the gears of the Victorian era. There are also ray punk, atom punk, biochemical punk, etc. But as long as the future sci-fi punk style is discussed, wasteland punk will definitely be unavoidable. The Mad Max series is a classic among wasteland punk classics. The opposite of steampunk optimism and romance. The world depicted by wasteland punk is resource depleted. The environment in which people live is harsh, barbaric and crazy. Wasteland punk was born in the 1960s and 1970s, during the Cold War between the United States and the United States. Oil crisis. All mankind is living under the haze of nuclear threats, and the future prospects are worrying. Therefore, the core symbol of wasteland punk. It's wrong to have hope. You also know that keeping hope is itself a mistake. Is it really hopeful? There is no hope in the wasteland world. Various negative factors of failure and despair have become the label of wasteland punk. Mad Max appeared in 1979. After that, the series became more and more useless. The birth of the Mad Max series. It can be said that he is the founding pioneer of wasteland punk. Let the audience more realistically experience and understand the appearance of the wasteland world. And an extension of later pop culture works in wasteland punk. Have a profound impact. In many works, nods to the Mad Max series can be seen everywhere. For example, the most famous example is Fist of the North Star. Both the styling and the background of the story are borrowed from Max. Not to mention the game, Fallout, except for the setting of the wasteland world. One person and one dog corresponds to the one person and one dog in Mad Max 2 Inches. Some story inspirations from Akira Toriyama's short story collection, Akira Toriyama's Theater. Also from Mad Max 2. Film and television works have been influenced and inspired even more. Mad Max 1 Inch ended with Max locking the opponent's feet. Leave him a saw and he'll either cut off his legs or be blown up by gasoline. This scene directly inspired James Wan to give birth to Saw. There's also the truck chase and action scenes in Cameron's Terminator. And the styling actions of Schwarzenegger's T-800. There are some shadows of the Mad Max series, even because of the success of the Mad Max series at the time. Let it create the extremely negative discussion of the wasteland apocalypse. That is, if the global temperature effect causes the polar glaciers to melt. What if there is only water but no land? In that year, he also spent huge sums of money to film Future Waterworld. Want to copy the same successful model as Mad Max? This time, Mad Max, Goddess of Fury, as a prequel to Mad Max 4 Inches, continue to show us more aspects of the wasteland world. There are more scene designs, equipment details, etc. The trailer points out that the story takes place 45 years after the collapse of civilization. So the timeline of the Mad Max series, how is it sorted? In the Mad Max movie universe, Mad Max 3 Inches depicts Captain Walker, set in 2005. The time and background difference between the third and second movies is 15 years. The first part was inspired by the first oil crisis, so it's not hard to guess the time and background of the first three Mad Max films. In the 1980s and 1990s until 2005. During that period, humans fought continuous wars over oil resources. Whoever owns oil controls everything. We watched Max go from living in a house that felt like home. In the second part, there are gangs who are fighting to the death to rob the oil refinery. Then in the third part, it becomes more complete in the wasteland. The story goes deeper into the desert. Then it's time for Mad Max, Goddess of Fury. The story of what happened 45 years after the collapse of civilization. Civilization collapse refers to the time of Mad Max 1. Director George Miller's intention is actually very obvious. If Mad Max 1 was released in 1979, 45 years from now it will be 2024. In other words, the time background of the Mad Max series. It's parallel to our real time. But in that Mad Max movie universe, unfortunately, human civilization collapsed and a wasteland world emerged. Then it's time for Mad Max 4 Inches. From the time Furiosa met the fellow villager, he said that he had been away for 7,000 days. That's 19 years. So, Mad Max, Goddess of Fury, takes place in Mad Max 4 years ago. So, Mad Max 4 Inches takes place in 2028. In the resource-depleted environment of the wasteland world, be able to plunder supplies as quickly and efficiently as possible and gain control of the road. Owning a high-performance car becomes the most important road weapon. So Chariot. In the Mad Max series, it is also equivalent to the existence of the main character, Max's V8 Interceptor. His car is famous for having a supercharged V8 engine. Although we are not surprised by V8 cars now, even the V16 engine is installed in the supercar. But in the Mad Max universe, since human society experienced turmoil and chaos in the last century, this has led to the stagnation of technological development. So the mainstream V8 engine has basically come to an end. Of course, you are right to say that the world had already developed V12 engines at that time. But it's rare after all. And Mad Max 1 Inch set the tone for V8. So it has been used ever since, and the V8 engine is regarded as a god. So it's not that V12 is unaffordable, but that V8 is more cost-effective. In Immortal Jonah, every time they go to war, they all need to pray at the V8 altar designed with the steering wheel in mind. The way to pray is to cross your hands and 4 fingers. In fact, the shape made is the shape of the 8 cylinders of the V8 engine. Although in Mad Max, Goddess of Fury, can't feel for Max and his V8 Interceptor. But Furiosa also has a V8 tank in the film, called Grumpy Black. Grumpy Black is also equipped with a turbocharged V8 engine, placed in the back of the car. The body is modified from an early version of Chevrolet's muscle car, with some elegant lines. But a powerful V8 engine, and a front-loaded hydraulic bow police weapon, create a violent and sharp edge. It fits the image of the driver Furiosa, Dark Angel, very well. War truck again. As the predecessor of the truck Furiosa drove in Mad Max 4. We can see its birth in the Mad Max Fury movie, since the war truck was just built. Moreover, the entire vehicle is luxuriously decorated with stainless steel and iron-plated decoration. Also finished the relief craftsmanship. Immortal Joe carved his entrepreneurial story on the truck, so it feels like the war truck is always on. It really shines in our titanium alloy eyes. War truck is a converted 900 series Kenworth heavy cab truck. There is a shooting star at the rear of the car that spins and crushes weapons. Body, top and sides, all can be used by Warboy to defend and attack. There is also an excavator installed behind the front of the car. Next is the car of the great warlord Dementes, composed of 3 heavy-duty motorcycles. The overall shape is like the Troika of ancient Rome. The engine of the middle one. The good guy chose a modified 7-cylinder aircraft engine. Can you bear this? In addition, there is the hexagon driven by Dementes in the back. The car is equipped with an emotional axle system, huge styling and an impenetrable protective grille up front. It's simply a moving monster on the ground. In addition, because it is closer to the time when human civilization collapses, so there are still some modified, flying objects left, and there are also airstrikes. Mad Max, Goddess of Fury combines these bizarre modified cars. Give the audience the possibility to see more battleforms in the wasteland world. It's like opening your eyes again. In the wasteland world, a tank with strong power cannot be used as food, right? seize resources. Kiss has become the biggest cause of conflict in this series. Starting with Mad Max 1. There are speeding gangs established by some hooligans, fighting and robbing on the highway from time to time. In the second part, it started to take shape. The third part already has a town base. And it's not just oil that's scarce at this time. Water, food, health and people who can fight are all scarce. Come to Mad Max, Goddess of Fury. This world has become a place where local emperors conquer the world. The wasteland era of warlord rule. Every mountain has its own forces. Not dying is a typical representative. He sits on a fortress surrounded by mountains on 3 sides, making it easy to attack but difficult to defend. Immortal Joe knew very well that only one city-state could not exist for a long time. People and materials need to flow to revitalize the entire area. This can also prevent others from being unable to retreat when they come to attack. So Immortal Joe sent his adjutant, Major Kolonikov, sent to the lead mine they occupied not far away, where weapons and bullets can be produced. After that it became a bullet farm, providing weapons to the fortress. Soon they found an oil refinery not far away. It was developed into a gasoline town to provide gasoline for the fortress, providing water and food. These 3 places are closely connected and supply each other. Become an iron triangle that is difficult for others to compete with. In order to plunder more resources from other places, combat effectiveness needs to be continuously updated. So Immortal Joe began to give himself more mythological color. The younger generation who have been brainwashed by Immortal Joe worship him very much. They're called War Boys. War Boy thinks that fighting for Immortal Joe is the most glorious mission. Taking sacrifice in battle as the most glorious moment in life. War Boy believes in this way to die. Immortal Joe will ascend their souls to the Hall of Valor. So every time I go on a mission and fight, War Boys are rushing to join. In order to improve their combat effectiveness, they will die at the most crucial moment in the battle, snorting a lead compound spray. This kind of lead spray can make people very excited after being sprayed, but it is very harmful to the body. In this way, Immortal Joe controls manpower from spirit to resources. From weapons and equipment to sophisticated tank teams, master the real power. Firmly grasp this triangular area of immortality that he has divided. But at this time, the nomadic motorcycle tribe appeared to break up the Iron Triangle. That is, the warlord led by Dementes. Their mighty motorcycle fleet consisting of hundreds or thousands of people, fighting guerrilla warfare in the wasteland world, relying on brainwashing to persuade surrender and annexation, and the method of burning, killing and plundering, constantly devouring other small tribes to strengthen themselves. In a strange mistake, Dementes' Hell Convoy. Entering Immortal Joe's territory, the 2 parties are at war. A decisive battle in the wasteland world is about to begin. Furiosa will become an extremely crucial character in this battle. Okay, when you see this, learn about Mad Max, Goddess of Fury. Some crucial settings and details. I believe you are already a hardcore resident of the wasteland world. Mad Max, Goddess of Fury will be released on June 7th. We can follow Furiosa's perspective. Continue to delve deeper and see more diverse characters in the wasteland world. Encounter all kinds of absurd and bizarre adventures. Go through all kinds of difficulties and experience great tragedy and rebirth. After that, there will be another, Mad Max, Goddess of Fury. In-depth analysis and Easter egg details. Okay, that's all for today's video. If you don't want to miss it, please continue to follow.com to watch movies. If you like it, please like and forward it to support. Then I am REVIEWFILM. Next video. We'll see you there or not.